Schedule a Zoom with me at gcexperts.com/Zoom.
Yeah.
And on the side of the highway. And somehow that just worked out perfectly. If it was going to happen, that's the way it needed to happen. So it was a good trip. I was so excited to get to California that I didn't even care about the stress of it all. I just needed to get here. But yeah, feels good to now be in one place and um, get stable with my dog and get everything situated. I didn't even see my apartment before getting here. So I was just, rolling the dice on whether or not this was a good decision location wise. And it worked out perfectly too. So it seems like this was what was well, this was the plan for me. And, it got executed super well.
Well, good.
Yeah. But, I got a big project that was awarded um, right before I moved in. And so I'm getting busy with working on that before I've been able to really like adjust to being here. But it's fine. Like I've lived here before, so I'll get around to everything else later.
Well, that was kind of what I wanted to talk to you about was that job, but I wanted to get a little bit of a history because you and I have been talking now for, if I had to guess, about 6 months. And then you got involved in the program, had a little bit of success, and then something big happened on this trip. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Do you want me to start from
You can start wherever
before?
you feel comfortable. I've never had an after workshop interview quite like this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was transitioning out of custom building and needed to know what my next step was. Of course, it needed to be something lucrative, something that I could do full time and remotely. That was important, and I was not excited about building a business similar to what I had done with custom building that involved marketing, relationships, and capital and all this stuff. So took your workshop in September, late September, took about a week to get through it and, was anxious about making that first submission. And, October was pretty slow, just learning the ropes and not really having confidence in what I was doing. And then, it started to pick up a little bit in November. But then right before Christmas is when I got my confidence and started to get some traction on the systems I was putting in place and started submitting multiple bids a day. And then during the Christmas break, that's when I started to really build my stride. From December through, I believe, February is the period that I had submitted. Like I submitted about 120 or so by then. So over a 3 month period, I was able to get a good um, rhythm going with submissions. And then I also had about three awards from those initial. I think like the first 10, I got two awards. And then the 40th was my next award. And then the 96th submission was my fourth. And now I'm working on an award that was from 128. That was the submission for that. But they've all ranged from like 9,500 to 47,000. The margins on them have been remarkable, regardless of the award amount. But then on the trip, I felt anxious about being in a car for 2 weeks because I'm like, I built a really good system and a really good flow, and I hated to break that up. So I needed to at least get something in. So when I was able to sit down in San Antonio, I was there for a week. I already had a list built for potential solicitations I wanted to pursue because it goes through like a few steps for me. So I just worked from that list and just picked the best three or so, got those submitted. And while I was on the road to New Mexico, I got the call saying, "Hey, you're the lowest bidder. And they asked for some more information on logistics because I guess I wasn't detailed enough for them to feel confident awarding the project to me without knowing that I had a plan in place for how to manage the supply process. So I got that to them, but because they asked the question, I didn't want to answer it until I knew that my numbers worked, you know? So I went through the process of getting my numbers together while also answering their logistics question, and come to find out it didn't work. Like my numbers don't work. So I was saddened because I'm thinking, oh, I gotta decline it, and this could have been my biggest award yet at 600 plus thousand. And then my brother threw out an idea like, well, why not just ask them for more? And I was like, well, you can't do that because it's already been submitted and the deadline is passed. And then it dawned on me, and I'm like, hold on. You can do that. There's just a way to do it. So I made a request for an increase and they accepted it. And
Now you're skipping over a
oh,
part.
what?
I know for a fact you're skipping over a part because I've spent the last month heavily immersed in my team helping me develop an artificial intelligence specifically for federal government construction. And I let you, along with 2 or 3 other people, have early access to it. And it hasn't worked all the time. But I know for a fact that you interacted with it associated with this job. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so that's how I was able to, act as two people pretty much. I had two flows going. I had one that was addressing the contracting officer's request for the logistics plan. So I put in the AI like, can you draft a template or prepare a response to the CO based on this set of details? Because I've never worked with a supply order of this size that requires that level of logistics. So it basically detailed all of the steps that I needed to take. And it pointed out some things that I wasn't even familiar with that would impact my pricing. So it wasn't just, me working on the cost of each item. The AI was able to highlight some of the planning and shipping and staging requirements that also impact pricing that I hadn't taken into account.
And then what were the results based on what the AI told you to do?
So as far as the logistics plan,
Well, eventually it gave you enough information that you felt confident to submit something to the contracting officer. What happened then?
yeah, so I submitted a draft and I referenced it as a draft to say, hey, I do have a plan. It will be refined once it's awarded, but at least you understand my thought process for the logistics plan. And then the second process that I was running through the AI was the pricing and strategy on how to make a proposal for an increase. So I asked AI for a few different options to pursue it. And it gave me some, strategy to use in terms of the script when calling the CO if I were to go that route, or, what to include in an email if I went that route instead. And then also, maybe rebuttals even. So, if there were issues that came up with how I initially worded it, there could be some compromise. I don't necessarily have to go with what my big asks would be. If I needed to come down from that, or I don't know, it was just, learning how to handle it if it were to go in a different direction. So I was able to interact with the AI well enough without worrying about whether I was taking too much of your time. So I was able to ask the million questions I normally have, without having any reservations. Not that you even care because you're like, call me, call me, call me. But, I was able to get AI to just walk me through every step and detail it well enough where I had enough confidence to go into the conversation and make my big axe.
Then what happened?
And then, I asked for the increase, and the CEO said, send it in. And
You used, and then they turned around and gave you a full price award at what, $750,000, something like that?
yeah, I went from 600K to 760K in a day, and I was sure that I was out of the running or consideration for it, but I'm like, I would have been out at 600, so let me just try. But I wasn't expecting much from it, and sure enough, they made the award.
Now I have another question.
Mhm.
I First of all, I had a team develop this whole thing, but the last month I've gotten heavily involved to make sure it really answers the way that I would answer based on my career. Was that obvious to you?
Yes, for sure. So that I believe that helps because it takes a while to build some confidence in AI. Whether it's a new tool, whether it's a highly celebrated tool, it's like, does this particular tool work for my use case? And federal government contracting, yeah, that's, a general category, but each project have its nuances. It's like, is it going to work in this case? And because it felt like a response that Sean would give, since I do have a little history with you at this point, is like, this sounds like what I would have gotten from Sean himself. So it plus some, because it was able to draft an entire email for me, or was able to
Hold
write
on
out.
just 1 second. My wife's called in here.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Hey, can you forward me one of the bills or an account number on the T-Mobile thing, or do you? Hold on, let me tell her your social real quick.
Okay.
It's just the last four of the social.
8353.
8353. Yeah, his last name. Reitmeyer. Reitmeyer. Meyer. Meyer. Yep. Hold on before you go, because I don't know what else. Yep. I found you.
Okay, great. Thanks.
He can open the account. You're not authorized.
I'm not, I give her authorization.
You're in my ears.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't even know how to. Right?
Testing. Can you please give her?
You can't. You have to come do it yourself because I'm not authorized on the account.
Okay. First of all, I'm not trying to open an account. I already have an account.
Just to do anything. I'm not authorized to do any changes. You can go into your account right now and add.
I'm blind.
What?
She doesn't know that I'm blind.
He's blind, so. Call customer care and they'll do it for you.
Okay. Then we're going to have to do this another day. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
We tried. That's okay. All right. Bye-bye. Anyway, let's see if I can't get this thing back up. Okay. So I'm sorry. We were talking about filling out the forms. The AI filled out, or is that what we were talking about?
No, you were asking, did the AI give responses similar to Sean, to you?
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, so it did, and with even more detail.
That's great. So have you used it since?
I have not, because I've been busy with this contract that was awarded Friday, and my first delivery is in 2 weeks. So I normally do, construction service where I'm subbing out a lot of it, and it's an administrative or project management task, whereas this one is very hands-on. I'm not outsourcing really anything, and it's over a 4-month period. So I do, once I get a good rhythm going with the first order, I do want to get back to making submissions, So I'll likely use the AI tool for that. And then of all the submissions I've put out there, I'm getting responses still. So if anything comes up, I'll likely use it for.
The reason I ask is you're the first person that I'm aware of anyway that's used AI in this way, at least certainly through my membership program, because you're one of 3 people that has access to it, that actually it helped them get a federal contract.
Yeah.
Are you going to make plenty of money on the job?
The right now the numbers show that is likely a 6-figure profit. And yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy. I had a vision of winning a big contract with a 6-figure profit on my trip. I mean, you have nothing but time to think when you're driving cross country. So I had a vision of that. So we'll see, because it's like the estimates show that, but we'll see what the actual numbers come out to. But if I do it the right way, then I should have potential to make even more than what I
Well,
anticipated.
I used to tell people, and if you have any problems, you can do what? Call me.
All strong. Yeah.
But now I think I'm going to start saying, if you have any problems, ask my AI.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're all pretty much conditioned to use AI. So, or not all, but more people are becoming more and more familiar with it. And because it has so much of your history, it's not just.
I fed that thing every email I ever sent, every letter I ever wrote, dozens and dozens of my recorded phone calls. It's got the workshop all in there. In fact, my dad was talking to me about a request for equitable adjustment the other day. And I just copied what he wrote me, plugged it in the AI, and I said, give him one of his own examples back as to what your capabilities are. And I didn't give it any more than that. And it quoted him from the workshop.
Yeah, because I mean, you have so much information, and it is hard to like decipher what may apply in this circumstance, or as a human being, you're gonna forget a lot of information, or even know where to source the information. But AI is able to take all of it and pull out what's applicable in that situation and optimize your next step. So, it's able to process all that information and give you the best of the best for that given scenario. Yeah.
I am so thrilled for you.
Thank you.
I just am absolutely over the moon for you.
Yeah. To me, it's remarkable for a suffering business not knowing its next step and being able to recover so quickly, and in a powerful way. Because if this is what comes of 5 months of work, and then not even having all those tools in place over that 5-month period, I can't wait to see how this year ends and what the years to come will look like. It's crazy.
Oh, fantastic. Ebony, I'm glad you made it safe and sound to California. I'm so thrilled for you and really appreciate you taking the time to have this call with me. This is my first, it's your first, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, It seems like this happened within 7 days of me saying, hey, I mean, I think I even said in the email to you that there's no guarantees here, that we're just testing this thing, And I think a couple of times you emailed it and you said to me, hey, I'm having a problem. It's not responding. And so I kept getting with the team and saying, hey, stand this thing up. So, yeah, I think this is going to be really cool for a lot of people someday.
I think so too. I mean, I know so. It's already showing, improving, how helpful it can be. And I haven't even figured out how to use it in its best way. I was just playing around and look what happened. Look what happened. So, keep doing what you're doing. You keep designing more tools. They work already. And I think the more we use it, the better it's also going to get. So I do plan on implementing it as often as I can.
Oh my gosh. So great to hear.
Yeah.
All right, Ebony, I'm gonna let you go.
All right, Sean. Well, all the best to you. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep, I'll see you in cyberspace on the Telegram.
Yep. All
All
right.
right. See you. Bye-bye, Ebony.
Bye.